Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the PG Show, where we talk about all things college football. Today, we have another guest speaker in Reggie Grimes. How you doing, Reggie?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We beat OSU yesterday, so I don't have to endure another year of hearing all my OSU friends talk trash.
Yeah, well, if you have OSU friends, you shouldn't have 'em.
I guess not. I guess not. But you know what? They're good for something. They're good to keep around every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, we'll just go ahead and we'll dive into it. So, we appreciate you coming on, but tell us a little bit more about your family. Where did you grow up?
Again, was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. Again, lived there all my life until I came to college here in Norman. So definitely a place that's near and dear to my heart. Just the state of Tennessee in general. Family. So I grew up. I have two sisters, one older, one younger. One of my older one, she was a track star. She won, I think, two or three conference championships up at Austin P in Clarksville, Tennessee. Then my younger sister, she's a freshman in college this year. She plays basketball at Tennessee Tech, but she won state four times in track. Um, her yeah, I guess would have been her junior and senior year. So again, she's a freshman there doing basketball, doing her thing, all that fun stuff. So we're a really, really athletic family.
Yeah, I see that looking at your 247 sports profile. So, I see your dad was a former defensive tackle at Alabama, and then he played a little bit with the Patriots. And you said your sister plays at Austin P?
Played
Played.
previously.
Okay.
Yeah, she's now. Let her last year was her last year. She's now joined the workforce is a part of corporate America and has a big girl job now. So all that fun stuff. But yeah, no, she was a heck of an athlete. And then my mom, she was the track star in the family growing. She won she won a Big Eight conference title with Nebraska. Then she transferred to Alabama, which is where she met my dad. And then eventually all of us popped out. So
Yeah, so was there a little bit of family beef going on yesterday with Alabama football playing Austin P? Because that game I don't think was as big of a blowout as they thought it was going to be.
Not necessarily. I mean, the only one who really went to Austin P was my older sister, so she talked a little stuff. But otherwise, it was what it was. We had bigger things on the agenda yesterday. So
Yeah, yeah, really big things, beating Oklahoma State. So I'm going through your recruiting profile a little bit, right?
right.
And I see, you took the visits to Oklahoma. It looks like you took visits to Florida State and, of course, Tennessee. And maybe back previously, you had Alabama. Give us a little bit more insight to just your recruitment, who recruited you, why did you come to Oklahoma specifically? Did you even consider maybe going and living in your dad's footsteps at Alabama?
Yeah, I can answer all those things. So just starting with the Alabama question, yes. For a long time, I contemplated, going to the University of Alabama and playing there, living up to again being a legacy because again both my parents went and graduated from there. Um, and then I kind of realized that maybe I want to have walk in my own footsteps. That makes sense, make my own path. I did same color scheme, just different places. So after my visit to Alabama, I went back to some of my some people who were recruiting me, some of the like offer posts I had on Twitter. I went back and just kind of see who was who, and I landed on Oklahoma. Um, that Coach Tibbs called him, and then we had a great conversation. We had great few conversations, and then got me on the phone with Coach Riley. And then one thing led to another. Then I took a visit here, loved it here. Me and Keyshawn Lawrence, who was committed to Tennessee, went to Tennessee for a year. Again, we took our official visit here together. Again, loved it, but again, he was committed to Tennessee for different reasons, and I wasn't committed yet to anywhere. So on Thanksgiving of my senior year, so Thanksgiving of 2019, I decided to come to Oklahoma, become a Sooner.
Yeah. So, what was one of the things on your recruiting visit that really stuck out to you about OU?
Just the environment, the environment, the traditions, just kind of the atmosphere, the in game feel, um, and then just the dominance. Because I came, it was Oklahoma played West Virginia, so you could probably pinpoint the exact date of that, but it was OU and West V. They played and OU won, and all that fun stuff. And again, just the amount of poise I saw from not only the players but from the coaching staff. There was never any panic. Even when things went wrong, there was never any panic, and that drew me here. And what kept me here, especially after the previous coaching staff left, man, what kept me here was just I knew we'd be in good hands with Coach Venables. Uh, and as well as the new position coaches that I'd have. So ended up with Coach Chavis. He's an amazing coach and an amazing person as well. So again, all credit to them for everything they're doing, everything that we're building here.
Yeah. So, you've talked a little bit about it, but you have Lincoln Riley and that coaching staff that recruited you here. And now you're here with probably what we would consider one of the most elite defensive coordinators of our time in
Right.
Venables, right? I mean, he's got a long track record of being able to put guys into the league, develop guys, and just have a really strong defense throughout college football, which when you look at it, the game has exponentially changed throughout, his tenure of being around. What what's the difference between the two coaching staffs, in the terms of just what Alex Grinch was wanting you guys to do in terms of a scheme, and then now what Venables is asking of you guys?
Again, man, Coach Grinch was a great coach, love him to death. But with Coach V, the team with him being our head coach, him being a defensive guru, with him being our head coach, we're more the focus is on defense. So, I mean, the head coach is now directly over you at practice. So obviously there's going to be more of an emphasis on your technique and things on skills on your skills on the defensive side of the ball, as opposed to our last coaching staff, which was an offensive side of the ball. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, you know what I mean? Because it's just two different styles of coaching. One's offense, one's defense. They're just opposites. However, me being a defensive player, I definitely have seen the improvement that has come with our defense, even through the growing pains that we've had. There's still a lot of so there's still been a lot of good in the bad, and there still is some bad in the good. Like yesterday, man, we defensively we had a great performance. However, there's still a whole lot with just us respectively, and then me specifically. There's a lot we can get better at. You know what I mean? So it definitely is a growing process. But man, I couldn't be happier for where we are right now, all things considered.
Yeah, so, uh, I've brought this up quite a bit over the season. I know OU fans like to freak out, really passionate fans sometimes like to freak out too much. But just the change in what you guys are doing on the field, I would assume I mean, there's a lot of learning curves, and it's not something that you guys are going to be able to pick up overnight. So, what would you say to just the fans that are like kind of doom and gloom about it? Like, I've said that OU is going to be okay. Got to give the defense at least a year in the system to figure it out and everything. Because when you change from one system to another, and especially that exponential of a change, it's going to take a while. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, with all of our stuff going on, you got the coaches have to learn the players, and the players have to learn the coaches too, as well as learning the scheme. Learning the amount of carryover that there can be, learning just what to do, what not to do. Again, it's two completely different systems, which means your technique may be completely different. That's fine. That's okay. So what I would say to the fans is, man, just calm down a sec. You know what I mean? Rome wasn't built overnight. However, once you see what we are building, man, I think not only the fans but us especially will be overjoyed and pleased with the results.
Yeah. So, what has the excitement been on the defensive side of the ball, with just seeing the vision that this staff in this coaching regime has, right? Because it's a little bit of a different vision than Oklahoma's had, probably I would say even in the past 10 years, even towards the end of Stoops' tenure, right? So, how excited, what does that room look like in terms of the excitement and the energy level to go out there and play, even though it's like, yeah, there's rough patches? What is that energy like?
Yeah, man, it's great. You know what I mean? It's definitely a fun process. You know what I mean? It's just kind of putting your nose back to the grindstone and going to work after celebrating a win. And even after, having a loss, man, it's still putting your nose to the grindstone and going back to work. All right, here's what we need to get better on. And then you list out the points. Well, here's what we've done good. All right, and then you enhance your skills, and you improve on your flaws. That way, you're still continuing to get better. I mean, you take some of the guys on our team and you look at them from game one to the last game, they're completely different people. So it's definitely just one of those things to where if you have perspective and you know what the vision is, man, you'd be more than excited about it.
Yeah, yeah. So let's kind of shift a little bit. Still talking about this new staff, but this has been a question that a lot of people love to hear. Smitty's came in and he's kicking some people's butts, and we know that he's kicked people's butts before. When he was here at Oklahoma, he went to Texas A&M and did his thing out there. What has Smitty been like for you? And then, do you have any stories?
I love Coach Schmidt. I love Coach Schmidt to death. And we all know that it comes from definitely a place of love and a place of us wanting to get better, and them wanting to get better, them wanting us to get better. You know what I mean? They can't do it for us. We have to put the work in. But yeah, man, I have nothing but love and respect for Coach Smitty. You know what I mean? He's a guy. He's one of the guys who helped build this program into what it has been. Um, what it was, maybe the beginning of the 2010s, or the beginning of the 2000s. You know what I mean? All that comes from him. It's just and all that stuff that he does, all that stuff that him and his staff, best strength and conditioning staff on the planet, in my opinion. But all the stuff that they have done for us, and they've shown, like, now that we're towards the end of the season, we've seen the why. I mean, at first, when you're in the summer or when you're in the winter and you're just doing it, you might be doing it just to do it. You don't have the vision, you don't see the why behind it. But now that we've almost had a full calendar year of being with these coaches, not just the strength and conditioning staff, but with all of our people, with just having been through a whole calendar year of it, man, it's night and day. You now understand, you have perspective. You're not guessing what's next. You know what's next. You know what's about to do. You know what kind of work you have to put in order to be successful is the main thing. And as far as Schmidt's stories, I can't say I have any. I've witnessed anything that's just terrible yet, but I'm sure something's coming. But yeah, no, I personally haven't witnessed anything to the extent of some of the other stories you may have heard about him.
Yeah, definitely. When you talk to people that were here just 10, 15 years ago, they got some horror stories, I'll tell you that. And then you got the people on Twitter who are like, yeah, you know what, I want to be a part of it. Let's make Schmitty have a charity. And I'm like, no, you guys don't want to be a part of
At all.
it. No, like, you don't even, like, even for charity, you don't want to pay the money to put yourself through the suffering. So you did talk about the process, and this was a question that kind of came up at the beginning of the season. But Venables announced that you guys were going to be wearing game day suits, right? You guys were going to come off the bus. You guys were going to be dressed up. It's a business trip. I mean, what has that been like for you guys, and how has that changed, or how has that impacted you in terms of the way that you look at the game, um, having to look at it as a business trip every time?
Well, it's just one of those things that, man, you it puts you in the mindset of how the real world is. Now, in the real world, when you're going to work, so to speak, you're not able to wear just anything. You know what I mean? You have to look formal. You have to look presentable. So when he announced the suits, I was overjoyed because, I mean, I love wearing a suit now. Um, as far as getting in and out of my hate, but as far as the way that they can present someone, I definitely love that. So, and it allows us to have our own style kind of filtered through with our suit. You know what I mean? Because again, we all don't have just one suit. You know what I mean? You can go out and buy whatever you want and mix and match and then accessorize. Have a bow tie, have a normal tie. cufflinks, stuff like that. So it's definitely been a highlight, getting our own suits tailored to us. Um, and again, when next year we'll get another suit, and then again every year here you'll get another suit. So I mean, it's definitely one of those things that, man. I'm glad that I'm here for. Wish they could have been here sooner in that regard, for that. But no, man, it's something that it's again, it's a model of the real world. Because when you go to work, I mean, you have to put on a uniform, whatever the uniform is. And as far as if you're in, say, you're in corporate America, you know what I mean, you can't walk around in shorts and a t-shirt and call it a day. That's unprofessional. No, I mean, you have to wear a suit. So now we're building life skills with that. So, hey, now, but if no one can say anything, they can say they have a suit if they play for you football. So they have a suit. They know how to they know how to tie a tie. They know how to iron their suit. They know how to be presentable for, let's say, a job interview, or let's say they have a presentation or stuff like that.
Yeah. So you said potentially another suit next year. Does that mean you've made a decision on whether you're going to come back and give it
Yeah,
another go around?
plan was always to stay for 4 years. I'm trying to graduate before anything. I'm trying to set up my future. So there was never any. I mean, for me anyway, there was never any gray area as far as that's concerned. I mean, even when I was going through my recruitment process, I told people, I don't plan on being a 3 and out kid, and that's fine. I mean, I'm trying to graduate and get as good as I can, before I would maybe take the next step and go to the next level.
Hey, and you know what? You're gonna have a great opportunity because it sounds like Jonah's coming back.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Ethan decides to stay, and then you guys have some elite talent coming in. So not only do you get to come back and have another year of BV and the guys and try to, you know, really submit your legacy, but you get a chance to help set the course for the younger guys that are coming in, which some of them were there last night, including one of them, David Hicks. What would be something that you would say to the younger guys, or how would you try to help steer them in the right direction throughout their recruiting process, and then when they get on campus?
What I would say, I would say to any recruit, whether they're coming to Oklahoma or not, man. Man, go where you feel like you have the best chances to succeed as a student, as well as as a man, and then as a football player. I think that that's a really important hierarchy you have to look at. Okay, because let's say you're assigned, committed to this place, but these classes are too hard for you. Or if these classes are too hard, then you can't play. You know what I mean? You'll flunk out. You'll be ineligible. So understand that again. Have constant talks with your academic advisors. You know what I mean, in order to get you on the right path of what you want to do. You know what I mean? Because again, you have until like your junior year to really decide your major, because more times than not you're going to be in your gen ed classes. But absolutely, what I would tell anybody, again, not just Oklahoma guys or guys who want to come here, man, but just go where you feel, like if you never played a down in your sport, if you never played another snap, you'd be okay with going. And for me, I was Oklahoma. If something terrible happened, knock on wood, but if something terrible happened and I was no longer able to play, I would be at peace with being in Oklahoma, with being here, at the University of Oklahoma, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes sense. And I obviously not being a football player or an athlete at all, and not going through this process. On the outside looking in, sometimes I feel like that's something that we think that people don't think about a whole lot. But you know what? It sounds like you guys do think about that in terms of, hey, what am I going to do after football, or what am I going to do if for some reason something happens, I'm not able to continue to play anymore. So it's really good to hear that you guys are thinking about that future outside of football.
Yeah, absolutely. The number one purpose of our program is to graduate. Okay, which is again part of the reason why we have so many guys coming back. We're trying to graduate before anything. So
Yeah, so I want to jump back over to the recruiting piece a little bit, uh, because a lot of fans think of that, especially when you're having a down season like Oklahoma's having this year, it makes it to where players don't want to come to the school, right? And I have looked at it as it's different from and Oklahoma, who has been successful, versus a Texas A&M, who they're now in their 5th year of a head coach. He's got a cycle of guys in there, and they're still not putting out the results, right? What goes into that thought process of potentially looking and finding for a school? Because, I mean, you went and visited Vanderbilt, Florida State, Tennessee. Those necessarily weren't programs that at the time were winning. And then what was your like best and worst recruiting experience with any of those like official visits?
Yeah, man. So with all that, what I would say is a school that may not have the quote unquote success that you would like now is one thing. But if you go back and look and see what they have, just look at the circumstance, have perspective. Because we keep coming back to that word because it's really important. Have perspective. Okay, so perspective about OU, right? So in the grand scheme of things, a year ago we were in a completely different position. We had a completely different coaching staff. Half the guys that are in our locker room now weren't here, right? So you fast forward a year to this year, man. We are still trying to kind of figure it out with each other. However, the foundation we built and we're building, man, is there. Okay, you take away a few plays, man, and we're legitimately 8-2 as opposed to 6-5. Okay, and then 8-2 season was completely different, right? So just kind of have perspective, man. We've lost 3 games by I think like 7 points or less. Okay, so again, all these games could have gone completely differently. All the games that we have lost could have gone completely differently, and the other 2 we didn't have quarterback for. So just again, have perspective and understand what we're trying to do. And that's what kind of what I looked at with all the schools that I visited and went to. I was definitely looking at, okay, by the time I'm a senior, how would they look? How would our team be? And obviously, you can't guess that. Just you can't accurately guess that just because anything can happen. I never thought that I would have a different coaching staff that I would, and here I am. You know what I mean? But definitely just how would they be, or how are they going to be, or what do they have coming in? What do they have leaving? Um, as far as coaching wise, like and player wise, just understand what people have going into it and coming out of it. That means college football is a business. More than anything, it's a business. So if you're at a school where the coaches, or if you're looking at a school where the coach has been there for a few years and hasn't had much success, well, they're on a hot seat. Okay, they may not realize it, and you may not realize it, but they are on a hot seat. Okay, and then you never want to go into that position of the coach you're committed to is now left. You know what I mean? And now you're messed up. So just understand, again, have perspective and everything. Do your research is what I would tell anybody. Come in, doing research, do your research about every school, every possible thing, like the area, the class you be taking, the people who are around you. Take a walk at like campus, stuff like that.
Yeah. So thanks for that. I love talking about the recruiting piece because it's something that us as fans necessarily don't always get a look into, and we don't understand because we'll never go through that process. So I love the recruiting conversations. I love those questions. It definitely helps provide a little more insight there. Obviously, this has not been the season that you guys wanted. You guys are at 6-5. It's been rough. It's been up and down, but it seems like you guys are having a good time. You guys are enjoying it. You guys are working towards something greater, especially going into next season. What's one of your biggest motivations when you go and you step out on the field every week, every single week?
I would say one of my biggest motivations is the chance to prove that we belong. You know what I mean? The chance to not only prove myself, but allow the people in my room, the people in my room, so my position group, and then my unit, to the defense, and then the entire team, and just be who we are, to prove who we are, to prove that we are who we say we are. It's a really big, important thing. So just kind of having that confidence, that swag, that juice about yourself. You know what I mean? That the guy across from me can't beat me. And when you have stuff like that, when you have that otherworldly confidence, who can be against you? So every game is an opportunity. Every play is an opportunity. You have to live and die within every play. And if you win the rep, awesome, great. Let's go back, do it again. If you lose the rep, guess what? We still have another play to do it again. So it's definitely, again, I keep coming back to this word, but it's super important, man. Just having perspective about your team, about the guys you're with, because I know that my guys personally, man, we have fun. You know what I mean? And yeah, the fun. Yes, the one fun is in the winning, obviously, right? But man, we have fun. All right, I'll go back to something I said earlier, man. There still is some good in the bad. Okay, and obviously, you go out on that practice field and we correct it. But man, just having fun and doing the things that we just love doing, and that's playing the sport, and that's playing with and for each other.
Yeah. So you were around several guys that have now left the program and they're in the NFL, right? Perry Winfrey, Isaiah Thomas, Delarian Turner Yell, Nick Benito. I'm sure I'm missing some other guys on the defensive side of the ball. What is that communication like? Do you guys still talk? Do they, do they provide any like mentoring advice to not only you, but just anybody else on the team? Since they were previously here last year, and it seems like they still have a good connection with you guys.
Absolutely. They come like Isaiah and Trouble DC. He was at the Baylor game. Afterwards, we kind of talked, but yeah, no, definitely, especially during the off season, man, when they come up, uh, they're a well of knowledge. I mean, for about the next level, because they were literally just here with us. So they are a wealth of knowledge that we can ask anything, and they're not going to charge us or anything, because man, these are our brothers. Okay, so anything that we would want to know, potentially want to know about how it is up there, what you have to do, or just stuff like, man, how do you buy a house? You know what I mean? How do you be an adult? Okay, stuff like that, man. They more than have time to answer and just kind of be there for us. Because again, even though they are not still at OU, they still are our brothers. So just with that and understanding that, man, we love them. They love us. They're all rooting for us for wherever they are. Man, we're all rooting from them from here. So
Yeah, that's awesome. As we start to wrap it up here, I got a couple more questions.
okay,
What are some of your favorite hobbies outside football?
okay. Favorite hobbies outside football? Well, bowling is one thing. Um, if it's eat kind of an easy day and we don't have anything to do, man, you can catch me and a bunch of other football guys, man, just at the bowling alley. You know what I mean? We all have fun. We kick it there. It's cheap. Shout out Sooner Bowl. It's cheap. It's great. You know what I mean? We all love to do it. We're all pretty good at it too. So there's bowling. There's playing the Xbox. You know what I mean? I'm a big Halo fan, big Mortal Kombat fan. So there's that. There's again, sleep is the main thing. We just catching up on rest throughout the season and the off season, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, as far as I would say, two really big hobbies of mine would be bowling and video games.
All right. So, do you play a little bit of Madden? Because I hear that there's always a rivalry going on between Bowman and somebody of who's the best Madden player.
I dabble in Madden, yes, just because it really helps you with your football knowledge as far as understanding the other side of the ball or both sides of the ball, really. So it helps you understand, route concepts and what offense are trying to do to manipulate you. As far as defense, helps you understand coverages and stunts and games and stuff like that. So again, Madden's definitely been a huge help, especially that I'm in college, and that this is part of my livelihood. It definitely helps me with stuff like that. But as far as playing competitively, not usually. Again, I kind of play more for the fun of the game. But yeah, there's always definitely something going on in the locker room or in the players' lounge with guys who play the game, who think they're better than each other. Again, Billy's a good player. There's a few other guys in that mix too. So
Okay, that's interesting. Listen, when NCAA comes out next year, there's going to be some massive NCAA tournaments going on in that locker room. I'm just going to let you know that. If you
rest,
had to pick, if you had to pick one team to play as, that's not Oklahoma in NCAA football. coming out. It's coming out next year. You're going to be in it. Who you
Right.
playing?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a tough one because back when NCAA 14 was out, you know what I mean? The fun thing to do was take a team that maybe it hasn't historically been the greatest and play as them to the national championship and to try to win with them. You know what I mean? So like back then, my go-to was Middle Tennessee State because it was right down the street. Okay, so let's see if we can win a natty with MTSU. Right, was my whole thing. But yeah, man, I honestly don't know. That's kind of a tough, that's a really good question. I'd have to kind of look into it, see again as far as who the best team is, especially because you have a year like this year when everything's up in the air. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, this year's been crazy for college football, but talking about NCAA kind of leads into the last segment of topics here, NIL. So
Okay.
NIL has obviously changed the game, how we look at college sports. You guys are now able to make money on your name, image, and likeness, and it seems like live a little better in college and maybe not struggle as much. What has NIL meant to you as a player? And then do you have any idea NIL deals currently out there or in the works?
I have a few deals that I'm not necessarily allowed to disclose because they're not really signed yet. But I have works. That makes sense. I have a few active ones, like fan arts. As far as merch, you know, they do like phone cases and like shirts, t-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that. You know, they're really good people over there. Um, but as far as how it pertains to me, man, NIL has definitely been a skill that is a double-edged sword. It takes some growing up because this is taxed. So it's like, you know, you gotta sign a W-9 form and stuff like that. So you have to be able to do your tax. But with that being said, man, it's definitely a great thing for college football. I think as far as helping athletes, you know, just have a little extra money in their pocket. You know what I mean? Because we are college athletes, and man, sometimes it gets hard. You know what I mean? Just managing money. Because you got rent, you got bills, you got utilities, and then you got to eat too. You got to eat, and then you know, unexpected stuff could happen. Like your car could break down. Like I have a car. I drive an Impala, and I love my car to death. However, has a lot of problems with it. Okay, so whenever something goes wrong, you have to have some of that money saved up. And if you're just going off your base monthly stipend, man, things can get tough. Things can get hard. So as far as having that extra stream of income, man, I think it's a really great, especially because we can't go out and get jobs as like a normal student could. We can't do that because one, we have no time to. Okay, we're exhausting our bodies mentally and physically. So the fact that we can get a little reward for that is definitely a huge help, and is a really good thing for college football by itself.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is a car dealership in Oklahoma needs to give you an NIL deal.
Would be nice. I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't turn it down.
All right. Well, hey, if you could have one NIL deal with any restaurant in Norman, where would you go? We've had some people say Louis. We've had I think someone said pickles. Somebody said Cheddars. I think Jonah said Cheddars.
I love Cheddars. The fun fact. After every game, or almost every single game in high school, whether it be football, basketball, or it would be like a track meet, right? We would always end up at Cheddar. If I was choosing, we were going to Cheddar's. Okay, that was my favorite. That was my favorite place. Especially, you know, just kind of. I went to two different high schools, so we stopped going to the one in the city that my first high school was in. We found a new one in the city that my second high school was in. So again, love Cheddar's. Love Cheddar's. But as far as like, I'll give you like a local one if that makes sense, because I don't really want to. And that's a chain brand. However, if one is listening, I'm not going to turn that down either. Um, as far as restaurants that I would love to deal with, the Garage is really good. Love the Garage. My favorite burger is the Big G burger. That's what they called my dad. Actually, that's actually now what they call me, Big G. So I would love the Garage. And then like, and this may be kind of a obscure one, but like Insomnia or Hertz Donuts,
Oh,
amazing.
insomnia cookies. That's the only way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Insomnia or Hertz Donuts would be amazing. So if any one of those three, if I got any one of those three, I wouldn't be opposed.
Oh, yeah, definitely not opposed. So the Cheddar's one's interesting. I went there for the first time when I went on a cruise to and when I was in Houston, and then I went for the second time the other day with Buddy because I live out here in Yukon. They just built one out here in Yukon, and I was
Yeah,
like, okay, Cheddar's instantly one of my favorite restaurants because it's like Chili's price, but it's better than Chili's.
yeah. Like the portions are amazing. Like I usually get again. My go-to is the buffalo chicken wrap. Yeah, like 4 buffalo chicken wraps, some fries. I get a side salad with it. So I mean, it's definitely really, really good food. I actually, now I'm thinking about it, I actually may go there right now. After, yeah, man, really, really, really good food for a decent price.
All right. All right. Well, there you go. Reggie Grimes loves Cheddar's. So, everybody, let's get Reggie Grimes a Cheddar's NIL deal. But hey, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you just letting Sooner fans know a little bit more about you. But they can find you on Twitter, they can find you on Instagram. I'm going to drop his link for his merch down below, but tell everybody again a little bit more about your merch, where they can find it. And again, I will put that in the link below.
Okay, so it's fanarch.com. There's links in my Instagram bio at I am Reggie Grimes, and there's links in my Twitter bio at I am Reggie Grimes. So I mean, again, man, just click the link. It should take you there. We got hoodies, we got like pullovers, we got shirts, we have um, we got we have phone case, which is actually really really dope. I love those. Actually have one on my phone right now. It's actually really really awesome. It has like my logo, my stylized logo on and everything. Then you have like again, there's two different kinds of shirts. There's some like with my logo, just logo, and then there's some with like my actual face on it and like me, like actual pictures of me. So it really just kind of depends on what you want. But as far as like comfort, man, they're really high. It's really high quality stuff. Like sometimes I sleep in some of the stuff just because of how great it is. Like especially like the pullover. So yeah, man, fan art. Shout out to fan art. You're really really great people. But yeah, man, just click on the links in any of my bios and it should take you there.
All right. Anything else you want to say to Sooner Nation before I let you go?
Thank you so much for supporting us this season. Man, we really couldn't do it without the fans. So love you all. Boomer.
Sooner.